CloudTrade's Rule System, Part 5, Declarative Programming. Declarative programming is a style of programming where you seek to find the solution to a problem by describing what it looks like, rather than by describing the processes to find it. Although all these presentations on analytical capture began by describing processing steps, our rules are essentially declarative. Even something as simple as the accounting number is to the right of account appears in this sort of declarative syntax. Account number is a rule with a count and a number afterwards. That doesn't explain how to find it. What it does is it explains what it looks like. In other words, to find an account number is look for the word account, or rather the word account followed by a number. Of course, if that was the be all and end all of your document, if your document was just the word account and then a number, then that account number rule would actually be your document rule. It would describe the whole document. This is unlikely, of course, unless you've got a much simpler sort of work than we do. At this basic level of thinking, you have two techniques to draw on if you want to increase the complexity. You can define more sophisticated declarative rules, such as for an account area, or you could indicate to Chromatica how to hunt for that particular declarative rule, i.e. go from the top left. You might be so unlucky that the only way you can unambiguously pull out that account number is to declare the whole document in all of its complexity. Normally though, you just declare as much as you need to, which makes it unique within the document, and allow Chromatica to just hunt for that pattern wherever that pattern might occur. In essence, you can think of declarative rules as being like a floating template, which Chromatica then seeks to match within your document. Unless, of course, your template describes the whole document, in which case it's either going to succeed or fail. Don't think of these as rigid templates, however, such as you might have come across elsewhere. So to give an example, these templates can allow for variation in the text. But what I mean by them, don't have to be fixed. They can handle variations using that or rule. They can even deal with some pretty fundamental changes. But they're still a sort of template. Just don't think of them in a very rigid way, like a printer's template. Just think of them as something which is declarative and is then applied to the document. So, why do we talk about grammars? Well, colloquially speaking, you probably remember grammars from school. The idea that, like you could define a sentence in this sort of way. It was a technique known as linguistics, which computer scientists then hijacked for computer languages and data files. A grammar in a formal language is a set of these declarative rules, like that sentence one. They define what documents are valid. With Chromatica, we use that technique to evaluate and find information on valid documents by having holes which are filled in. For example, if you look pictorially on the top left at what a declarative rule might look like, and then you apply it over onto the right hand side, Chromatica will sort of hunt around until eventually it gets that sort of match, and as a result of that picks out that data that's there in a yellow block. The rule in Chromatica would probably look something like this. It's a magic number rule. So it's a line of text beginning by address, followed by some other text, followed by some other stuff, followed by a line of text ending with keyword, followed by some more stuff below it with nothing below keyword, and then a line of text with something interesting below that keyword. You will probably, if you've got a background in formal languages, spot an aspect about this which is not usual in normal grammars, because language theory normally only concerns itself with English sentences. So like the stuff that you're reading now, basically, where the grammar is defined as whether by one sentence following or preceding another, nothing more complicated than that. But when we look at forms, then we have to consider that meaning is carried by other elements in the document, such as words being above or below each other, or the same line but some way apart, or perhaps sharing a font or a color or something like that. Formal language does not really cater for that sort of thing. So we extended the concept of language theory to allow us to do so. Basically, everything that you've seen to date in all these presentations is the implementation of this technique. Rules writers might not realize it, but what they're actually doing is they're defining extended grammars which we're using to make sense of documents, with built-in rules which increase the power that the logical system had in the first place, and allows us to produce pretty complicated grammars, if you like, to deal with any sort of complexity in the document. And in the next presentation we'll deal with intervention and completion, which is when a rules writer has to break out of the system and ask a user to disambiguate what they might have found.